Hello guys, and today I'm going to show you the top 5 best smartphones under $300. So before we start the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, let's get started. So number 5 on the list is the Samsung Galaxy A10. The Samsung Galaxy A10 is a very low budget smartphone that comes in at around $130. This phone won't blow you away by its build, performance or camera, but for as low as $130, it still does most things well. The build of the phone is decent. It has a fully plastic build that has a non-removable back, and the phone looks decent from the back and looks quite nice from the front because of the display. It is pretty thin and light, weighing in at 168 grams and is around 7.9mm thick. The display on the phone is pretty good with 6.2-inch IPS panel with a screen resolution of 1520 by 720. The display is bezel-less with a very small teardrop style notch that isn't too obtrusive, and the display has good colors and viewing angles and has decent brightness. The specs on the phone include the octa-core Exynos 7884 processor paired with 2GB of RAM, 32GB of storage and a 3400 mAh battery. The performance is solid for $130 and it'll be able to run games and apps fine. Battery life is also pretty solid as the display is only HD+ and the specs aren't very powerful. The cameras on this include a 13MP back camera along with a 5MP front camera. Both take decent quality usable photos, but this is one area where you can definitely see the price be an issue. Number 4 on the list is the Xiaomi Mi A2. The Xiaomi Mi A2 is the latest iteration of the incredible Mi A1, and this one is a solid upgrade at $160. The build of the phone is really good actually. The entire phone is made out of metal that not only looks really good but also feels premium in the hand. It has this unique design on the back due to the internal lines, and it is a lightweight and thin phone. The display on this is notchless, and it is a 6-inch Full HD Plus 18:9 IPS display that looks pretty solid. It has good looking colors and contrast, thin bezels and a no-notch experience that some might prefer. The specs on this include the Snapdragon 660 CPU, 4GB of RAM, 64GB of storage, a fingerprint reader and a 3000 mAh battery. These specs are pretty solid, and the Snapdragon 660 is a flagship level processor that will allow you to play every game out there with good FPS, and general performance including multitasking is smooth due to the stock Android experience here. The battery life is a bit worse than the Samsung Galaxy A10 but is still quite good, with it having 4 to 5 hours of screen on time. The cameras are some of the best on a budget phone, with it having a 12+20MP back sensor and 20MP front sensor. The 12MP sensor on the back takes good quality photos, and the 20MP front sensor has pretty insane detail for a selfie camera. So number 3 on the list is the Honor 8X. The Honor 8X at $220 is the kind of phone you might buy if you want a phone that looks new with all the latest design cues but don't want to spend a huge amount of money. Its design is fully made of metal and glass, and it certainly looks more expensive than its price. It has an all-screen front, metal sides and a glass back with a number of different colors that look really good. The overall build feels tight, and the phone is also really thin and light as well. The display on this is a 6.5-inch Full HD IPS panel with a notch, and the panel itself is really good. Color accuracy is better than average, and the brightness is also very good. The specs on the phone include a Kirin 710 processor, 4GB of RAM, 64GB of storage, a fingerprint reader and a 3750 mAh battery. Performance is great as expected and is a huge step up from the 7X, and the battery life is one of the best out there on any budget smartphone to date. The cameras on the phone include a 20+2MP back camera and a 16MP front camera. Both the cameras give out solid results, and the photos that come out of the camera are sharp and have contrasty colors. Number 2 on the list is the Huawei Mate 20 Lite. The Huawei Mate 20 Lite is a solid upgrade from the Mate 10 Lite, which I recommended quite a few times, and this one improves on most aspects and comes in at $240. The design of the Mate 20 Lite is quite a bit similar to the Honor 8X, and it too has a metal and glass build. This phone also feels premium, and it looks like most other higher-end flagships with its different color options. The display on the phone is 6.3-inch Full HD IPS panel that features really thin bezels. The phone also has great viewing angles and good colors, and the display should be great for outdoor use as well because of the high brightness, and it is a very pleasing display to look at. The specs on the phone include the Kirin 710 CPU, 6GB of RAM, 64GB of storage, a fingerprint reader and a 3750 mAh battery. The performance is similar to the Honor 8X, and this too will allow you to play games at a higher frame rate and will last you just as long with a huge 3750 mAh battery. The cameras are a bit of a step up from the Honor 8X. It still has a 20 plus 2 megapixel sensor on the back, but it bumps up the front cameras to a dual setup with 24 and 2 megapixel sensors. Both cameras provide excellent quality for the price, and the photos and videos that come out of this are genuinely some of the best on a budget smartphone. So number 1 on the list is the Moto G7 Plus. The Moto G7 Plus is yet again another solid option from Motorola, who have been cranking out some of the best budget smartphones, and this one comes in at exactly $300. The design of the phone is also similar to the last two phones with a maternal glass build, but this one has a big camera bump on the back due to the dual camera setup, and it adds this sort of unique look to the phone. This phone is also quite thin at 8.3mm and weighs in at 176 grams. The display on the phone is a definite step up from the G6, and here it is a 6.2-inch 1080p IPS panel that looks great for normal use and media consumption. The display has much thinner bezels than before and features a teardrop style notch that isn't too obtrusive as before. The specs on the phone include the Snapdragon 636 CPU, 4GB of RAM, 64GB of storage, and a 3000 mAh battery. Performance on the phone is some of the smoothest I've seen on a phone due to the near stock Android experience and good gaming performance. The battery life isn't actually too impressive. It features quite a small battery as compared to others, and it definitely shows. It still isn't too bad at all and can give you around 4 hours of screen on time. The cameras on this are actually a big improvement from before. With this, you get a 16 plus 5 megapixel back camera and a 12 megapixel front camera. The main camera is capable of taking really good true to life pictures along with having 4K recording capability. The front camera is also really good for a selfie cam, and for this price, it is much better than what we'd expect. So that's it for the video guys, thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.